Hi, I'm Gary White for Channel 6 Central Kentucky Television. I'm here with Mike Mangeot, who is the new Executive Director for the Bardstown Tourist and Convention Commission. And new because you started back in February, correct? Just beginning of February, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you've been very familiar with tourism for a long time, right?
I have. I've kind of grown up around the industry, and most recently was served under Governor Beshear as State Tourism Commissioner. So I was able to promote the entire state, and Bardstown was certainly one of the crown jewels that we went out and pushed quite a bit.
That's fantastic. So tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would, for us.
Sure. I've been, as I mentioned, I've been in marketing most of my career. I'm married. My wife is a district judge in Franklin County, actually. I've got 2 children, one of whom's getting married and moving away on me to England.
Oh, wow.
But that's exciting for her. And of course, it gives me a place to go travel to. And
Exactly. Where in England? Just
outside of London. Her fiance's in the Air Force, so he's taking her away, but I'm going to make sure he brings her back in a little bit.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, but most of my career has, I've had a varied career as far as industries. My job responsibilities have always been marketing, advertising, community affairs, that type of job.
So what brought you to Bardstown?
Well, after the transition in the administration, I was doing some consulting. I was helping working with some local other tourism commissions and CVBs and enjoying that quite a bit. And actually when this opened up, I thought, gosh, that's a great opportunity for someone. I didn't really think it would be for me, just because of living in Frankfurt and traveling down here. And the more I thought about it, I thought, there aren't too many times an opportunity like this comes open in this industry. And I tell anybody, once you're in the tourism industry, it gets in your blood. It's almost like a sickness, and because it's what you're doing is you're promoting everything positive about your community and all the quality of life. And I thought about it, and with the structure here, with the support, with the success that Bardstown's had, I just thought it was a great opportunity and threw my hat in the ring.
Fantastic. So tell us, what does the tourism director do for the community?
Sure. The primary mission of the Tourism Commission is to promote the destination, to bring people in and spend money. I mean, that's really what it is. A good friend of mine once said that tourism is like picking your pocket and making you smile about it. And that's what we want. We want to bring people in, show all the quality of life, and then frankly we want them to leave because we don't want to have to support them with our fire, our police, everything else with all the infrastructure. But that's it. We go out and we promote Bardstown, Nelson County as a tourism destination. We do that to the leisure traveler, to families. We do it to the motor coach industry. Those are the big buses that you get behind and get upset because they're going slow. I would ask you not to do that. We like to call those piggy banks on wheels. You want them to stop here because they spend money. And that's really what we want to do. And it's a varied effort. We promote the community through traditional marketing means, print media, or print, radio, TV, digital, a lot more digital now. We go to a lot of travel shows, meeting with tour operators to just tell them what Bardstown has. And that's our biggest challenge right now. People just don't know what Bardstown is.
So what would you say are some of the biggest tourist draws for Bardstown and Nelson County?
Well, number one's bourbon. It's in our business, no matter what marketing you're in or what industry, you're always trying to find what is, you learn this in Marketing 101, what's your unique selling proposition? What sets you apart from everybody else? There's nobody, not only in Kentucky, but in the world that does bourbon like Bardstown. Now, with that said, maybe that's what gets their foot in the door, but then when you come in, and there's such a rich heritage here, from the Civil War heritage to the Holy Land tours, Abbey of Gethsemane, there's just so much here. And a lot of times the challenge for a community who doesn't have a big budget, who's trying to compete with the big destinations, is what do you focus on? Because you want to be fair to everybody. But what I've learned in my career is you have to lead with what sets you apart, and right now that's bourbon. And you've seen the success here. You've seen the influx of visitors already coming to the distilleries. We have 3 new distilleries coming online in the next month or so. Those visitors are coming in. They're all looking for a new experience. We want repeat visitors. And then when they get here, that's when the rest of the community can shine. Because we want them not just to come as a day trip, we want them to spend the night. So after they go to the distilleries, what are they going to do? They're going to eat, they're going to shop, maybe go see the Stephen Foster story if they're here during the season. And those other entertainment venues that we need to do and work with the local merchants to make sure they know, hey, we've got a big group coming in. Maybe you can extend your hours or something along those lines.
And now, for the tourism too, you take care of not just, as you said, the city of Bardstown and its events, but all throughout the county as well.
Yes.
For instance, the Railway Museum and some of the different things that are out in the outlying communities. Is that correct?
Correct. We promote the entire county.
Okay. And if somebody is asking, what would you say is one of the things that really needs to be developed and worked on more with tourism? What would you say with that?
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's hard to say it's just one thing. I think for most communities, you have a tendency, if you've grown up here or live somewhere, that you don't see the appeal that other people coming in see. It's a fresh set of eyes coming in. But I also think we also tend to imagine everybody knows who we are. Everybody knows who Bardstown is. And when you get outside and go, have you ever heard of Bardstown? No. I actually had somebody ask me if it was named after Shakespeare. And I said, well, that's the first time anybody's ever asked me that. But I see where you get that. No, let me tell you the history. So really, it's just gaining some awareness. We've got the product here. We've got what people are looking for, which in general is an authentic experience. Think about how you travel, you know. No offense to our friends at Disney, but I call it the Disneyfication. And you know, unless you're going there and expecting that, when people travel, they want authentic experiences. They want to eat in local restaurants. They want to understand the history and heritage. You know, one of the challenges with bourbon tourism is a lot of people don't drink bourbon. I know that's blasphemy, but a lot of people don't drink bourbon. So how do you get that non-bourbon drinker to come here to learn about the family histories, the heritage, et cetera? So that's really what you're trying to do, raise the awareness, number one.
And for, we were talking about tourism and drawing in people from outside the community too, but in our area, we have a lot of our three counties, a lot of people here experience and enjoy a lot of the tourism activities that are available here as well.
They do. And again, a lot of times we take that for granted, what's here, and we tend to look outside of our own community. I was having a conversation today with someone on that very topic and trying to find ways to let people know, hey, you may not have been to one of the distilleries recently. It may have been 3 or 4 years or 5 years ago that you went. Come back out. They've changed the experience around, or there's new restaurants downtown. It's really maintaining that level of communication with the community, letting them know, whether it's on our website or through some local media, to try and create that interest. And I think we're considering looking at creating some new events. I don't know what those might be right now, that might draw people into downtown and work with the local merchants, the Main Street Association, and the Chamber on some new events.
So having worked in tourism for your career, what were some tips that you can give for our viewers who go out when they travel, either coming here to Bardstown or when they travel elsewhere? What are some of the tips that you can have for our viewers about how they can have a better experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, for me, whenever you have the opportunity, and whether it's online, go to the local website. They're going to know the local places to eat, to shop, to stay, the accommodations. Plan your trip. If you have questions, call the local tourism commission. And it doesn't matter if you're going to New York or any big, they're there to help you. And in our industry, it's all about hospitality. So we want you to experience it and want you to have a great time so that you go back and tell people, I went there and I had a great time, come back. So utilize the resources that are out there. You know, there are so many apps now when you travel for restaurant reviews and things like that. The other thing I would say is go online, look at TripAdvisor, look at some of these other rating websites and see the comments that are out there, because you know, that will tell you about how if there's a problem with what a destination, hotel, whatever wherever you're going, how they handled it, if they've responded to it. I think that's key too. You know, everyone wants you to have we think everyone wants you to have a good experience. But use those reviews, look at them and take them seriously. And after you've traveled, come back and give reviews. Yes,
because that's a lifeblood for some different organizations.
It absolutely is. You know, all that people don't know, and I don't want to get into too much inside baseball, but when from the travel world, social media engagement, how many times you click on Instagram or I was here, or you not just like a post, but you share a post, or you play the video, the content that's out there. All of that actually builds into the Google algorithms where you show up in search. So if somebody goes in and types in, I'm interested in a bourbon distillery, you know, if we've done our job, then Bardstown's going to come up there, because, you know, Kentucky's not the only place with bourbon distilleries now. We have most of them and the best ones, but not all of them.
Yes. Again, I'm talking with Mike Mangeot, who is the Executive Director for the Bardstown Tourist and Convention Commission, Bardstown, Nelson County.
Bardstown, Nelson County,
Tourist
yes.
and Convention Commission. Started in February. And if you have any questions for tourism, you can visit them too, because your office is right in the old courthouse downtown, right?
We sure are. We have a visitor center that's open 6 days a week. So come in, ask any questions you want. We'll be there.
And they can help you plan that next excursion to Bardstown and Nelson County, right?
Absolutely.
Because a staycation or tourism at home is really important too, right?
Oh, yeah. You know, we love to bring in new visitors to the community because it's new dollars coming in. But you can't underestimate the value of our local tourism. And you know, even if you look at something as popular as the Bourbon Festival, the majority of the folks that come to that are local. And we can't ignore that. We don't want to ignore that. And you know, there's a lot of places. I know we had a cocktail week last year, and some other. You know, you see these restaurant weeks. That most of those are for locals to get out and sample some of the local flavors, and it helps the local economy and try something you haven't been. So we're looking at all kinds of things like that. But I absolutely, you know, it's kind of like remind yourself of what you have in your own town. You're the best ambassadors that we have. You know, the worst thing can happen in tourism, and it's happened to all of us. You go into a store or something and you see a local and say, "Hey, I'm new, what's there to do?" And they look at you and go, "There's nothing to do here." You know, yes, there is. You're just used to it. So get out and see as much as you can. Kind of refresh yourself.
And what's the website to go visit?
www.visitbardstown.com.
That's easy enough, isn't it?
That's easy enough.
All right, I've been talking with Mike Mangeot. This has been Gary White for Channel 6 Central Kentucky Television.